Hour, and then do the full week, and you do right lines, slow, go. Go. You want to go, Ethan? You want to go? Go. Oh, this way, hello. Thirty seconds. Okay, books closed. D. Ali Hamza, full 6. G then. ينصرون. And you do answer and you do Balanga. This is Sana. हर कोई एंड जा रहे हैं जी تنصر تنصراني ينصرنا जी जी ينصرنا जी yes loud जी फहद ينصرونا very nice जी साद जी जी girls जी ينصرنا जी जी That's fine. I know you know it. Okay. G. On to the next one. Now, the next one is going to be with the sigha and translation. 5 minutes. With sigha and translation. I can ask you to list all of them, or I can ask you the sigha and you give me the word. Okay? Either way. Then with the sighas. Look, very simple, okay? The ones without the noons are wahid. The ones with the alif noon are tathniya. The ones with the waw noon and just the noon are jama. Okay? And then the masculine and feminine you get from there as well. G, get on with it. Work hard, Fahad. Don't just sit there, Shabba, get on with it. Memorize, learn, reach the person next to you, test each other. Listen, keep it words and seagulls only. We'll do translation afterwards. Yeah, words and seagulls only.
Why boneless coin? Boneless coin. Boneless. No, you said. No, you said. It's the same thing, basically. Okay, so girls.
One more minute on this. One more minute.
It's girls. واحد بفكر the 6-1. That's why 6 and 5-1. What did you think you're going to That's not the same. You know, that's
Okay, books closed. Books closed. G, Mu'min, can you tell me what is the sigha for Yansurani? Excellent. Tasniya, Muzakkar, Ghaib, Farouk, can you tell me the sigha for Yansuruna? Excellent. Boys, can you tell me the sigha for Tansurani? Excellent. Dan, can you tell me the sigha for Tansuru? Excellent. Great training करवाई है तो Ali Hamza. जी, Ali Hamza, can you tell me the sigha for Yansurna? Excellent. Bilal, Yansur. Yansuruna. يوم ذكر غايب. تنصراني. Excellent. تنصروا. تنصروا. أندسني مؤنث مؤنث غائب. جي ينصرنا. مؤنث غائب. G, let's start from the ones we missed out. Hanan, can you tell me the sigha for Yansuruna? Tansurani. Yeah. Tansuru. At the back, Anisa. The Layla, Yansurna. No. مؤنث غائب. Okay. G. ينصر. ينصرن. ينصران. تنصران. تثنية تيجا ينصرون. ينصر. There you go. Okay. One more minute, and now we're going to reverse it. I'm going to say the sigha, you have to tell me the word. One more minute. Thirty seconds.
جمع مؤنث غائب
Okay, books closed. Books closed. Books closed. D. Sarf. جمع مذكر غائب. جمع مذكر غائب. ينصروا. ينصرون. ينصرون. فهد. تثنية مؤنث غائب. Doing like a staring contest or something? What's going on? Why are we locking eyes? G. Say that, innit? Why do you make me wait 30 seconds? No, it's not. G. Same one. تثنية مؤنث غائب. ينصراني. تثنية مذكر غائب. ينصراني. واحد مؤنث غائب. إن شاء الله. Good speed. جي فاروق. واحد مذكر غائب. ينصر. جمع مؤنث غائب. ينصرنا. جمع مذكر غائب. تثنية مؤنث غائب. تثنية مذكر غائب. ها؟ تثنية. كنا ينصرون फिर सोच के अंदर ينصرون ينصراني واحد مؤنث غائب واحد مذكر غائب جمع مذكر غائب جمع مؤنث غائب تثنية مؤنث غائب تثنية مذكر غائب جمع مؤنث غائب جمع مذكر غائب تثنية مذكر غائب تثنية مؤنث غائب واحد مؤنث غائب واحد مذكر غائب تثنية مذكر غائب تثنية مؤنث غائب جمع مؤنث غائب ينصرنا واحد مذكر غائب أنيسة ليلى واحد مؤنث غائب تنصر. Very good. Okay, now with the translation. Come on, words with the translation and the sigha. With the translation and the sigha. Please make sure you revise this. Practice this at home. Did you practice? With translation now, with translation.
How are you going to say it? You said
I can say the word, you say the translation, I can say the translation, you have to say the word. Either way.
Day 3 no, day 2 plus I said day 2 day 2 female. Day 2 female. If you said first wrong, you have to say because say why and then the English was.
Not to say the translation. Translation only with the words.
No, I said this dating. I said yes. No, but I was about yes. Yes, was ridiculous. What is yes? Yes.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
He will have. Yeah, okay. Thank you for the next morning is day 2 years. No, yeah, day 2 years. There's no good hand.
Okay, books closed. Books closed. Books closed. Books closed. So, G. Zishan. Tansurani. Them or they, two females, help or will help. G. Chiri. Yansurani.
It's running day 2 years will help.
Help or will help. Because remember, you can give past and present. G. Ihsan. Yansuruna. Yansuruna. Very good. Yansuru. Tansuru. Yansurna. Ibrahim Saad. Just get Ibrahim from there, please. G. Yansurna. Not 3 plus. 2 plus. 2 plus. G. Guys, one. Check. Check it. Incorrect. Yes. G. Tansurani. There. There. That's a whole different word. They. Okay. Yansuruna. Okay. Girls, I'm going to say the translation. You tell me the word. They, 2 plus males, help or will help. They, 2 females, help or will help. Tansurani. They, 2 males, help or will help. She helps. he helps. They two plus males help or will help. Yansuruna. They two females help or will help. They two males help or will help. He helps. She helps. What do you say? Yansuru. G. Yansuru. That's fine. Okay. Books closed. Open your books.
books.
What did I say? What did I say?
Paper books.
Paper.
You said paper.
I said paper.
I said paper books. Paper. The last book.
Abdul Rahman, what did I say?
Paper.
Eh? Pick books. You said it. Pick books. Pick books. G. Go on to lesson number 38. At the end of 37, there is a brief exercise. Just do that quickly. Actually, don't do that. That's baby stuff. Don't do that. Okay, everyone quiet. Shh. Page 105. 105. Pay attention, please. We don't have much time. 105. Okay. So, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's reported in a hadith that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam also forgot, made mistakes, and that's why we have sajda sahab. Okay. And the reason for this is what? You might say, well, he was a prophet, he was given all the knowledge. And therefore, how did he forget, or how can he forget? And the wisdom behind that was what? Teach us. Yes? Because if he didn't do it, we wouldn't have sajda sahab. We'd be in a lot of bother. And therefore, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam forgot. Why? Because he sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the hadith down below, I forget, or I am caused to forget, so that a sunnah may be established. Okay, so that we have options. Okay, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I do not forget, or rather I am made to forget, meaning for a particular reason. And you can read down below that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why are the words I am a human like you contained in the noble Quran and the blessed Sunnah? It is clear that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not like anyone. In fact, when the companions tried to emulate his continuous fasting, he said, which one of you is like me? The Prophet ﷺ used to sometimes fast regularly every day. And the Sahaba, they said, they started doing that as well. And the Prophet ﷺ said to them, you're not like me. Okay, why? Because Allah feeds me, Allah gives me water, drink, Allah takes care of me. If you do this, fasting every day, you will become weak. For that reason, the Prophet ﷺ forbade them. So saying you are the answer is this: when two things are compared, for example, X is like Y, which is actually being said, is that they both share a common characteristic. So saying you are like a lion does not mean you have a tail, mane, and whiskers, but it means you show courage. So then when you say to someone like Ronaldo, he's the GOAT, what does that mean? Bakriye. Yeah, so when they refer to someone as the lion or the goat or whatever, why do they say it in that way? Why do they compare them? Why? Because of one particular characteristic. A lion is courageous. So when you call someone a lion, you don't call them a lion because he walks on his arms and legs. Okay, because they are courageous. So there's one thing. Okay. So the common characteristic between us and the Prophet ﷺ is the absence of divinity. So when the Prophet ﷺ says, I am a human like you, what does he mean? In terms of, we sin, that kind of stuff? No, ma'adallah. He is like us. How? In that we are not God and he is not God. Okay? That doesn't mean he's like us. Because if you read the books of hadith, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was anything but like us. He was the epitome of perfection, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, it is because the person of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so perfect and matchless that the obvious had to be stated, I am a human like you, to stop people from worshipping him. If he didn't say this, people would think he is so perfect that he is God. Okay, like previous nations, they have made these mistakes regarding Isa alayhi salam, regarding Musa alayhi salam, and others as well. And therefore, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam clarified that I am just a human like you, meaning I am not God. Okay, that doesn't mean he is like us in other ways. Let's carry on. Lesson 38, Sujood at Tilawa. Very simple. There are ayat in the Quran. If you recite that ayah, you will have to do sajda immediately. Okay? Sujood at Tilawa becomes wajib upon you if you recite any of the 14 ayat listed below, or if you hear any of them being recited. If the ayah is recited during the salah, the sujood should be performed immediately. If the ayah is recited outside of salah, it can be delayed slightly, although delaying sujood al-tilawa unnecessarily is somewhat disliked. Okay, so you can't say, oh, I'll just finish this off and I'll pray, oh, I'll pray tonight, oh, I'll pray tomorrow. This is disliked, this is makruh. You should do it immediately. So close your Quran, do the sajda tilawat, or at the very least, once you've recited the Quran, your portion, then you do sajda of tilawah. According to authentic narrations, sajda of tilawah is also wajib if you recite the translation of any of these ayat in another language.
Like if someone does not, these ayah and just to make it to sajda, you have to take.
It will apply. Yes. Okay, and by the way, that's not a punishment. That's not a punishment to have to do sajda. It's an honor. Okay, it's an honor. You shouldn't joke about it where people are now frustrated to do sajda because of you. For example, you say on purpose, so that person has to do sajda. What will happen over time is he will start to hate the act of sajda. Okay, and people will be like, oh, don't say it, don't say it. Ma'azallah, as if they are running away from sajda and they don't want to do sajda. And you will be the reason for them for them having that hate. So you shouldn't do it as a joke or as a game. The 14 ayat of sujood are Surah Al-A'raf. The list is there. Hearing an ayah of sujood. If you hear an ayah of sujood being recited, whether you intend to listen or not, answers your question. Whether you intend to listen or not, sujood of tilawah becomes wajib upon you. Okay, if you hear it, whether you intend it to or not, sometimes in Makkah, Medina, while you're walking in the streets, they'll be reciting the Quran out aloud and you're walking past it and you're like, oh, wait, thanks. Yeah, why? Because you just heard the ayat of sajda and someone is reciting it, and you'll have to do that sajda of tilawah whenever you get the opportunity. Women who are on their monthly cycle or experiencing postnatal bleeding are exempt from this because sujood is a part of salah and they are exempt from salah at these times. Obviously, they are exempt from namaz in itself, so to expect them to do the sajdas is not possible either. If an imam or his follower heard the ayah from someone outside the congregation, so they are doing their congregation and some Haji Sahib, he's reading Quran nice and loud, okay? They should not perform sajda tilawah during salah. So if they are in namaz, someone outside of namaz reads sajda tilawah, remember you are not allowed to respond. Okay, you're not allowed to respond to other people's instructions. If they do, it will not count and will have to be repeated after salah. However, their salah will not be invalidated due to the extra sujood. If you hear the translation of any of these ayat in another language and you understand its meaning, you should also perform sujood at-tilawah. So this is also for translations as well. The scholars disagree about hearing an ayah of sujood from an insane person or a sleeping person. Some scholars hold the opinion that sujood at-tilawah should still be performed in these cases. So it would be best to perform the sujood in order to escape the disagreement. So sometimes a person, hafiz of the Quran, might be sleep talking and reading the Quran. SubhanAllah. Okay, these things happen as well. So if that happens, you should still do sajda tilawah to be on the safe side. Hearing an ayah of sujood from a bird, such as a trained parrot, parrots can talk as well. So if they know the ayah and they recite it, or hearing the echo of an ayah of sujood does not necessitate sujood. There is also a disagreement among the scholars on this issue. So it is best to perform the sujood if this incident ever occurred. Related to this is the issue of listening to a recorded ayah. So what about listening on YouTube? Or you're listening to it while walking, whatever, then what do you do? Where is it gone? Related to this is the issue of listening to a recorded ayah, audio or video format. Some scholars have ruled that sujood is not required because they have likened the recording to a parrot who repeats the ayah again and again. Other, more cautious scholars say that the best opinion in this matter is that sujood would become wajib and should be performed. This opinion is erring on the side of precaution. Besides, prostrating before Allah is a good thing anyway, so if you are able to, you should do. Very simple. If you hear the verse of the Quran where you have to do sajda tilawah, just do it. It's not, a punishment. It's an honor to prostrate in front of Allah. If it's from a recording, you have an option. You can take the safer option, or if you find it difficult, you don't have to. So there is an option because there is a disagreement. But whenever there is a disagreement, you should always go with the safest opinion. Okay. Design 14 posters. Who's got time for that? Okay. Lesson 39. Sujood at-Tilaawah. Sujood at-Tilaawah during Salah. So this is in namaz. What is the ruling? Sujood at-Tilaawah is completed by performing an extra ruku or sujood other than the normal ruku and sujood of Salah, and sujood is better than ruku. Remember, you've already done this in Taraweeh. What happens? The Imam announces that there will be a sajda tilawat in the first rakat or the second rakat. And so when he says Allahu Akbar, they do the extra sajda. It can also be an extra ruku, but obviously sajda is better because it's sajda of tilawah. If you make the intention for sujood tilawah as you bow for the normal ruku of salah, it is sufficient, although an extra sujood is better. So let's say they end on an ayah which is of sujood, and they just go into ruku straight after. That's fine. The ruku will suffice as sajda tilawat, but it is better because people will be confused. But then the Imam doesn't even know, bro. And the Imam doesn't even know that if you read sajda tilawat, you have to do sajda. Who made him the Imam? But people are dumb. Okay, the ruku would suffice, but you're not going to argue with all these people, so you should just do an extra sajda anyway. This is so that the command of prostrating is truly acted upon, and not just symbolically by simply bowing for ruku. The normal sujood of salah is also sufficient, even if you do not intend to do the tilawah by it, as long as you do not recite more than 2 verses past the ayah. So the ruku will be valid if you make the intention of sajda tilawat, but if you just go into sajda straight away after reading the ayat without the intention, the sajda of namaz will also be fine. However, you don't need the intention for this as well, but it's still better to do an extra sajda because that's the whole point of it. The condition is you can't have recited 2 ayat extra from sajda tilawat. No talking, please. Pay attention. If you hear the ayah from the Imam who do not join the Jama'ah or join during a later rak'ah after the Imam has performed sujood tilawah, then you should perform the sujood outside of salah. So look, you are running late for Jamaat and the Imam recites the ayat of sajda. It's better for you to perform it outside of namaz. But if you think, oh, I can still join the Imam and do the sajda with him, that's fine as well. But it's better to do yourself. If you join the Jama'ah before the Imam performs sajda tilawah, then you should perform it along with the Imam. If you join the Imam in the same rakat as the ayah is recited, but after the Imam has performed sajda tilawah, then you do not need to do anything because your entire rakat is counted with the Imams. So it is as though you have performed sajda tilawah. So you heard the sajda of tilawah, you didn't do sajda on your own. Neither did you do it with the Imam because you joined later, but you joined in the same rakat, that's fine. It's as if you were there with him. Okay. If you miss sajda tilawat during salah, you should not make it up afterwards, but seek Allah's forgiveness for your mistake. So let's say you recited sajda tilawat in namaz, but you forgot to do a sajda during namaz. There's no qaza for it. You don't need to repeat namaz. You just seek forgiveness. This is because the ayah was recited during salah, which is a better state. So the sajda tilawat performed outside of salah will be deficient in a way because you read the tilawat in namaz. Now outside of namaz isn't going to match that. If you recite an ayah of sujood outside of salah and perform the sujood for it too, then repeat the same ayah during salah, you will have to perform the sajda again. Okay? If you had not performed the sujood prior to salah, then the one during salah would be sufficient for both recitations. Remember this, you might be thinking, yeah, where are all these cases coming from? All of these cases can happen at any time. Because you are advanced students, or you're becoming advanced students, you should know as many of these cases as possible. And now you know that if we hear the sajda of tilawat in whatever, in namaz, outside of namaz, there is a ruling for it. You might not necessarily remember it all, at least you know where to look for it. So within your book, you can easily search for the answer. Repeating an ayah of prostration. If you repeat one ayah, so what if, for example, you are a student of hifz, memorization, okay, and you are memorizing, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi, you're memorizing that ayah. Actually, now that surah, you are going to read it as your sabak, your sabki, your manzil. You're going to read it every day, many times a day. Now, do you have to do Sujood Tilawah every single time you read it? Let's find out. If you repeat one ayah of sujood many times during one sitting, then performing sajda tilawat once is sufficient. If you change your sitting, majlis, then performing sujood tilawah just once will not be enough, and you would perform the same number of sujood as the number of different sittings. How do you know I'm in a different sitting now? Moving from one floor to another floor, one room to another room, changes the sitting. Although moving from one side of a large room to another side does not change the setting. So look, if you are in one hall, this one hall, and you read it in this one hall, once over there, once over there, once over there, once over there, you only have to do it once. But if you leave this hall and go into that hall, that room, now you read it there again, you'll have to do one for this one for that one. If you're on this floor and you go downstairs and you repeat it again downstairs, you'll have to do two, one for this one for that one. So every time you change your room and repeat it, the sajda will have to be added on, will have to be done again. The following things do not cause a change of sitting. Number one, sitting aboard a vehicle which is moving, okay, because it's classed as being in one room. Praying one or two rakat, if you recite the same ayah many times in one rakat or repeated the same ayah in two rakat, then this is counted as one sitting and you are only required to perform sujood at-tilawah once. Number two, drinking some water. So if you read a surah and then you drank some water and then you read again, that doesn't mean that's two separate ones. It's still the same one. Eating two mouthfuls, two bites of something. But if you have a full meal, now it's considered a separate setting. Okay, now it's separate. Walking two paces, leaning, sitting down, and standing up. So again, if you sit over there, lie down over there, stand over there, walk around here, none of that changes it. If one reciting the ayah does not change their sitting, but the listener does, then the listener must perform as many sujood as the sittings change. So let's say I am reading from here loud. You heard it here. Then you went in that hole and you heard it over there as well. Now you will do one for here and one for there because you, as the listener, your setting changed. But the one reciting will only perform one sujood and vice versa. Have you understood this? Yes? Sajda tilawah, very important. Do it on time. Thank you. True or false? Get on with the true or false. Very simple, very quickly. If anything is false, write out the correct statement down below. Get on with the chiri. Okay, let's go through them very quickly. Number one, you should not make up sujood at-tilawa after salah if you forget it during salah. Number two, you should perform sujood at-tilawa every time you recite an ayah of sujood, even if repeated. False. What's the true one for this? No, this number two. What would be correct? You only do it once. You only repeat the sajda tilawat or do two or more if you change your sitting. Okay. Number three, during salah, it is sufficient to perform ruku or sujood at-tilawa, but sujood is better. True. Number four, walking two paces is considered a change in the sitting. False. The one who hears an ayah of sujood does not have to perform sujood, only the one who recites. False. Yes, the listener and the one reciting has to recite it. Thank you. Bye bye. Acha, Aqidah at-Tahawiyah tomorrow. Please be on time.